All right, guys, we're back. We had a little bit of, or I had a little bit of a equipment malfunction. A fan over here kind of decided to leave the chat and fall to the ground. That's one of the reasons we decided to pre-record the first few episodes to try to work the kinks out and things we didn't think would be an issue turns out are. So, but right before we had to stop recording, we were just starting to mention the Ultimate series, and Shannon, you were talking about the Ultimate and the unfortunate premature end to it this week.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But first off, Cole, this won't be the last time we have to cut because of equipment malfunction or something go wrong.
Oh, absolutely not.
So we'll be doing this again.
Yeah.
So the ultimate, I'd like to start off, Cole, if you don't mind, basically just kind of giving a story a little bit about the ultimate and how it got started and everything, and it kind of leads into the story of what why last weekend.
Right.
So first off, I think it was back in 2021.
Hmm.
Josh gave me a call. He was calling in to reserve some spots and pre-enter some cars for the Southern Street Stock Nationals. And we got to talking, and of course, at that time, Josh was involved with the Mid East Street Stocks, and of course, we have the Mississippi Street Stock Series, and we got to talking about how cool it would be to take a couple of his races, a couple of the races on our side, maybe add a couple more races, and try to expand the footprint of Cruiser Street Stock Racing, a little bit further out. Uh, Bring the product to some fans that have never seen us race before. Uh, and we did that. We took basically two, I guess you can say, regional, local type series,
Hmm.
and basically expanded towards a larger scale of a regional series. And it was a great idea. I mean, I was sold from the get go, and I went out and reached out to Johnny Stokes and Rodney Wing and kind of pitched the ideal, and they was all for it. So we put a schedule together, and we started off in 2022. Had a great season. Car counts were up. Matter of fact, our first race at Livonia, we had 50 cars, and Livonia's a track don't even run that class.
Right.
They only have cruiser street stocks. They have a modified street, but they don't have a cruiser street stock class there at Livonia. So man, I was excited. Um, had a great first year. Then we got at the end of the year, and we just never could get a banquet to work, a date for the banquet to work out. Uh, and I'm a firm believer that a banquet and a recognition for the drivers is just as big as some of the races that you have throughout the year. You
Correct.
want to give these guys recognition, plus you want to celebrate the season, and we just couldn't make that happen last year. So again, this year we had another decent year. Car counts was good, and you know, uh, we struggled again to put a banquet together for 2023. Now there was a little bit of other factors besides not finding the right date.
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know, but December 16th, I had a small stroke. So I was trying to work through that, through some health issues, trying to get everything back in line to where I can get my life back going. And Josh, and he took on a new career as a cop, to become a cop. So we just struggled to find a date. Well, I talked to Josh, and I told him, "Hey, look, we're having our Mississippi Street Stocks banquet, this weekend, February 24th. If you want to give the opportunity to let some of the drivers come to that banquet and get some type of recognition, I'll get the checkboards made, everything, we can make it happen." And he agreed, and everything was good. Uh, so banquet time came around, and Josh came down. He was here. We actually had lunch 5 hours before the banquet, and I don't know what happened between that time of lunch.
It's a little misallocation of funds.
I don't know. I really don't want to speak on it.
Yeah.
Uh, but somewhere between that time and the banquet, something happened. Josh gave me a call 5 minutes. Actually, as I was pulling the driveway to the community center where we was doing the banquet, and said, "Look, I got issues. I'm not going to be able to bring the points money there. And all I asked for Josh at that time was to, if you can't do it, come to the banquet and just let the people know that was there, what the deal is, and how you're going to take care of it. And he said he would, but of course, I got ghosted. He never showed up, and that was very embarrassing and very hurtful at the same time. So,
Well, I know I spoke to you that night, and I knew as soon as you called, even the time that you called, we talk a lot, but never that late
at
on the
that time of night,
weekend,
yeah, exactly.
and I knew right away something went
And
awry.
it could have been easily fixed.
Yeah,
I mean, if the funds wasn't there at that time, just call me up Friday or whatever, whenever, and just say, look, we can't do it. And I could have possibly stopped the guys that drove all the way down to Biloxi from coming. Say, look, it's going to happen later, but it's not going to happen this weekend.
right.
And honestly, they probably would have came anyway, uh, just
It all sounds like
because
y'all had a
they
good time,
oh, we had a great time.
regardless.
Uh, we really did.
Yeah,
But just something to that effect. But
that's
yeah,
a
I was tore up that night, man. I didn't. We had all kinds of good food that I couldn't eat, man. My stomach was just
in
ripped to
knots.
pieces, man. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then after I finally realized, hey, it ain't gonna happen. I really actually, when I come to the conclusion of what reality was, I just kind of calmed down. Matter of fact, we went out and rode go karts. Me,
yeah.
Trey, a bunch of us. That's about 10 of us there. Had a good time. Lapped Big Kenny twice. I was rolling, man. Having a good time.
Oh yeah,
Wasn't the fastest out there.
it weren't the
My goal
slowest either.
was, that's right. And my goal was to beat Big Kenny, and that I did, which he said he was a little tight in the seat, wasn't very comfortable. So I can see that slowed him down quite a bit.
Yeah,
Uh, but we had a good time. And just so the folks know out there, the points have been paid in full. Josh took full responsibility of what happened, and he got the points paid off on Tuesday of last week. So everybody should have their points money.
hmm
So
yeah. And I did talk to a couple of drivers to from around here, and they did confirm that they were paid. So
yeah,
yeah, everyone
and I do
was.
have your check boards. I have your check boards here at the house. When I see you at the track next, I'll make sure you get your check boards because that was another thing last year. We made sure all the money got to everybody last year, but there were no check boards, no
Mhm.
trophy, no nothing. I was like, I'll be damned if that's going to happen again this year. I went and paid and had some check boards made. So I got your check boards with me. When I see you at the racetrack, I'll get you your check boards. But it's just a shame because I'm going to tell you, the ultimate was really good in
Mhm.
some ways. If I had to weigh the good and the bad, I would probably say there was 70% good, 30% bad,
Yeah.
and maybe some people will look at the what happened as more than that, but just in my opinion, there were some good things that came out of it. The
Oh.
organization of the races was phenomenal.
Mhm.
The It brought bigger or higher paying races to our region.
Yeah.
It brought the best drivers in the region together to compete for that big money. The tech was phenomenal. I can tell you how many times we tore motors down, and that's really uncalled for. I
It
mean,
was
it doesn't happen.
pretty much every race. I think there was a motor tore down. I know
Okay.
both years that you all were up here, we tore Clayton Miller's motor down both times. And I know the
Yep.
first
So I
year,
mean,
Josh didn't was kind of little leery on wanting to tear their motor down because we had a race the following night. Weather kind of fucked with us and had to race on Friday instead of Saturday. But
beep. We got
yeah,
a big beep on
shit
that,
happens. It'll be all right. And
but it won't be the last time.
we never claimed to be PG, but yeah, there was. I can speak on a personal level. The positives of the ultimate. I feel like that played. I mean, without it, our friendship, I think, is a result of the ultimate. Because you all coming up here the first year, and without that, this podcast probably wouldn't be happening right now.
True.
So yeah, that's
But I said, there's more positives that came from the ultimate.
Absolutely.
Uh, but I also want to say another thing. I'm not sure that it's probably a blessing in disguise that we did go ahead and postpone, canceled, or whatever
Hmm.
the ultimate season in 2024, just simply because, I'm not sure that with what's going on with me as far as,
Health
the
wise.
other stuff I got health wise, and then I got the Mississippi Street Stock Series, which we're going all out this year. Got Wildlife Motorsports Park, which is number one to me, no matter what. That's my number one focus. And then I'm doing a couple races with Jason Jackson at Pike County. So I'm not sure with all that going on, with Josh taking on a new job, he not, him not knowing a schedule, with him being a cop. I'm not sure, what weekends he'd have. I'm not sure we could have gave 100% anyway.
Right.
Now there was one bright spot, the race at Screven. I
Hmm.
mean, another track that does not even race street stocks, and they had what 50 something street
I
stocks there.
think so. It was
It was
significantly
very
more than
surprising.
what I was
Yes.
expecting. Yeah.
So I don't want people to remember the ultimate as what happened last weekend. Uh, I want people to remember that hey, it did bring in some pretty good racing, some
Hmm.
excellent racing on the track, uh, and I just hope and pray that Josh gets better. I mean, people make mistakes. Hell, we've
Yes.
been young before, Cole.
Oh
I've
yeah.
made mistakes before.
I've done several, several stories from the past that less than proud of,
Yeah, for
but
real.
that's
And
just
it's the
part of
biggest.
growing up and learning. As long as you can learn is the what's important here. I feel like.
Yes, make mistakes, find ways to correct them. That's all you can ask for.
Yes, sir.
Because we can't go back, to February 24th. We can't go back to that date and replay it. I mean, we just don't we don't have that option. So all we can do is just hope that that mistake doesn't happen again.
Yep.
That's all we can really hope for. But I wish Josh the best. Maybe next year something can happen
Hmm.
similar to what the Ultimate was before. I will say probably the people I feel the most the most for is the factory stock guys. We
Yes.
had a ton of guys interested in running that factory stock series. And, I've told a couple possibly that we still might be able to do something, but it's just, we've contacted one track, and we won't mention that one track call, but that
Right.
one track, when the Ultimate pulled its title off it, they weren't interested anymore.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do nothing right this moment, but that doesn't mean something won't happen.
Yes.
Um,
There's always the opportunity for doing something in the future, and I know me and you have talked a little bit about picking up the factory stock and trying to throw something together, but at the end of the day, we'd be half-assing it and throwing it together last minute,
for
and
sure.
we don't want to do anything without being able to say we gave our all. So,
Yeah, definitely. I
you
don't
know,
want to put my name on anything that's not
yeah.
100% backed
Hmm.
or 100% going to have an effort put into it.
Correct.
Now, I know there is a rumor out there, and I don't want to say much about it, that somebody else is starting a factory stock series, so it still might happen.
That's
And
news
I
to
hope it
me.
does. I
Yeah.
hope it does for these guys' sake. Uh, so because I think they deserve it, man. The factory stock guys, the last couple years at the Nationals have supported, you know, 100%. And really, honest, truly, they put on a good show. Them
Yes.
guys raced their ass off.
Yeah, I remember, this past year was my first year at the Nationals, and I think that was probably a better race than the street stocks. They were running three and four wide,
Definitely,
several rows.
Billy Walker and Tyler Davis had a hell of a run.
Yeah,
There for a few laps. Definitely one of the def.
it's a
Hey,
fun
I'm
class to
biased.
watch.
I am 100% biased on that deal, but the factory stocks definitely put on a show.
Yeah,
Justin and Chad put on a show too, didn't they?
yeah, it was a little bit of a different show, but hey, it was that was I hated seeing that because they were both coming to the
Two
front.
two of the most competitive guys I've ever watched race them too.
Yeah,
They're just some phenomenal drivers, both of them.
yeah,
But
it was a good show till it wasn't.
but back to the Ultimate again. All I can say to the factory stock guys is sorry, but there was no way that I could do that.
Right.
So, but
Well,
anyway, we're going to take a short break. And as soon as we come back from that short break, we will have our special guest, Mr. Hayden Moran.